say, Christy, this is April and Pierce, and we sold a local Hallmark store on the pencil ad while you were here, Card and Candy, which has a very small budget. But she fell in love with the pencil ad while you were here, and she has an 83% click-through rate to that static web page that we also built for her.
Oh my Lord, that is off the chart.
Yeah. So I just wanted to put that in there.
No, that is fantastic. And like April was saying, it's just a small, Main Street Hallmark store, and she didn't have a large budget, but she had a few things going for her, like wedding planning and some different things that she really wanted to push. And she really wanted to see if it was going to work or not. So she really kind of took a leap of faith. It might have been a little more than she wanted as far as out of her budget comfort zone, but it's obviously really paid off for her.
This is Dave. One more.
Christy and Dave, excuse me, I guess y'all might be tired of hearing from me. It's Mark again. And I'm in advertising, and, I sell advertising, and I sell a lot of. My favorite is white space, and it just looks like this page is so cluttered that if I was to be selling, the banner, skyscraper inbox thing, it just looks like I'd be distracted by so many different things right here. I mean, is that good, bad, or is it good to have this much going on a page right now, or it'd be, what is this a good model to look at, or a bad model, would you say?
Well, almost all of the papers have gone with this model. They don't all necessarily look like this because, like I was saying, the Journal has a lot more going on because it is the state capital with specialty sections that they're advertising in display-like ads. Their basic model, however, for ad setup is the same as every paper I have visited, though. They are doing a peel and a pencil, obviously, if we sell them, and then these three standard ads, medium rectangle, skyscraper, and leaderboard. This is pretty much the design, and and like I was going to say, a lot of it is up to what your individual paper's like, what you need, your look. But this actually follows the standard model.
It just seems like if I'd be selling some advertising spots, I'd be my advertiser would be kind of swayed, that his ad might be distracted by all this other stuff going on, is what I'm getting at.
Well, if we've got ads that are getting 83% click-through rates, and even ones that aren't that high, I know from pulling their stats, the last time I was there, most of their ads were getting far above, sometimes 2 and 3 times the national average for click-throughs. So whatever they're doing, all I can say is it's working.
Mark, this is Dave. One more time, you can also, any of you, 2 suggestions. One is go to the regular Capital Journal website, capjournal.com. You can see various other pages. This may not be totally representative of all their pages.
Correct.
Secondly, most of our markets have a Hallmark store. Make sure that when you're making calls next week, you call the Hallmark store, you show them the pencil ad from the Capital Journal, you talk about those 83% click-through and see if you can sell some.
David, this is Jill in Tucson. I think we all have pages that look very similar to what the Capital Journal is. I mean, I think we should all open up our own homepage and see. Because it's a news source, it's an information source, so you have to provide your readers with that information. Maybe that's how Mark can take a look at that and how you want to present it to your clients as well, is we are a news source, we are an information source, so here's what we do have to offer. I pulled up our Tucson Weekly. It looks very similar to that. I pulled up the Daily Iberian. It looks similar to that, the Cap Journal. So I think we're all in the same position.
Thanks, Jill. Christy, back to you.
All right. So
I had a quick question.
Okay.
If we build an ad through Impact Engine, is there a charge for click-throughs or page views that we can charge?
Can I jump in for that, Christy?
Go ahead, Pete.
You pay a flat fee for the 3 standard size ads, and in Impact Engine you have several hundred templates to choose from, so you can use those unlimited. Then there is and Christy's going to get to a slide, I believe, in a few minutes, that's going to indicate that there is one category of ads on Impact Engine that does cost additional, and that is the exotic ads. And I originally thought that it just meant the video ads, $1 per CPM, which means $1 per 1,000 views. So if you have 20,000 ad views, you're going to pay an additional $20 for a video ad. So that's got to be taken into consideration in your pricing. Now, this is news to everybody, and I'm glad we've got a lot of people on the call today. I just found out that actually it's all exotic ads are $1 per CPM, which includes the page titles and the expandable ads. Now, what I've done to mitigate this error on my part that I didn't realize this until this week myself is I'm going to be paying for any WIC-wide exotic ads through the month of June, and then starting in June, it's going to be your responsibility to pay, to price your exotic ads accordingly. So this is one reason why we want to do the CPM model, and you want to cap your ads at like 20,000. You don't want to have an ad run rampant and wild and run at 65,000 ad views a month, and then have to pay a $65 fee on a $200 ad. But I apologize for that extra news that we have on the exotic ads, but that is the way it'll be starting in June. And like I said, let me just say,
exotic?
yes, pencil ads are. Yep. And let me just say this: in theory, these exotic ads ought to be limited runs. They shouldn't be like running for a year at a time. They ought to be, in theory, short runs. And so, as you sell them with new contracts and stuff, just take that into consideration in terms of pricing. Thank you.
Okay, are we ready to keep going?
Christy, Rich Snyder, one more question. What is the average click-through rate right now?
Yeah, are you looking at just like national averages?
I just say on average, what would advertisers expect as far as a click-through rate? What's the average?
What is still being quoted as a national click-through rate is between 0.5% and 1%. Have you heard anything different, Pete?
No. It's
okay.
1% is good. 1%
yeah.
is good.
It's usually between 0.5% and 1% is considered a good national click-through rate. But in most of our local markets, we've been fortunate enough to see higher, click-through rates than that.
And let me just say this. Can I just say this real quick? And that is, look through your ad inventory. Look at the ads that are having good click-through rates. Find out why they're having good click-through rates. Also, look at the ads that aren't having good click-through rates. And you can learn a lot by just viewing the ones that have good versus bad click-through rates.
Exactly, and kind of like what Pete is talking to is when I go out and when I'm with you guys, on a blitz week or just a regular selling week, it's part of what I really try to communicate to the advertiser is the thinking about click-throughs has really shifted in the last few years. The click-throughs are not the end game, they are the gravy. Just like with a print ad, if you do an online ad correctly, it should have value every time somebody sees it. Just because somebody doesn't rip a print ad out and walk in with it doesn't mean it didn't work, just like you all know. So we should be able to format these ads to have enough information that every time somebody sees it, it kind of burns in and it has value for the impression, not just the click-through. Where click-throughs can be important, for example, like Pete was saying, is you really need to be paying attention to these because the click-throughs can be indicative of if one ad is working better than another. We all know not every ad works as well as every other ad. So if we're paying attention to this, we can do, put an ad up for a month, track it, get our baseline numbers. Well, then we change the ad. Even in doing a basic image campaign, we change the looks. You all know we can do two exact same ads. One's green and one is yellow, and for whatever reason, 10 times more people will go to one. Then we change the ad over the next few weeks, and we do a call to action ad, and we sit down at the end of that time period, and we compare apples to apples for that advertiser to say, look, every time we did ad C, we got 30% higher click-throughs. This is what our advertisers are responding to. So it can be very powerful in that aspect, but do not, over-impress upon them the fact that, yes, you can track it and whatever. Because just like with print, and I hound it into you all, the ad should have value every time they see it.